Today we bring to you not one, but two corrupt officers. Two former NYPD detectives, Louis Ippolito and Stephen Caracappa, were found guilty in 2006 of participating in 8 murders and other crimes while working for the NYPD. They have tarnished the image of the NYPD, and this raised questions as to if NYPD was truly honest in their dealings. It's caused the public to lose their faith in NYPD, and ever since then, the department had worked hard to erase this blemish on themselves. The story of Eppolito and Caracappa, the nature of their crimes, the investigation that resulted in their eventual arrest and conviction, and the fallout from their case will all be thoroughly covered in this article. We will also look at how their corruption affects both law enforcement and society at large. Stephen Caracappa and Louis Ippolito were pals growing up in Brooklyn, New York. Caracappa had a more humble upbringing than Ippolito, who was the son of a major Gambino gangster. Both guys joined the NYPD in the 1970s and advanced swiftly. Ippolito was well known for having ties to organized crime, and his father Ralph was a captain in the Gambino crime family. However, he still managed to join the NYPD and worked mostly as a detective till his career came to an end abruptly. However it may be, people knew him as charismatic and a person who loves to remain in the spotlight. On the other hand, Stephen Caracappa came from a more conventional background. He hailed from Brooklyn, and this is where he later joined the NYPD. He had a reputation for being quiet and reserved, and served as a detective. Crimes committed by Ippolito and Caracappa started in the early 1980s. To give its members safety and information, the Luches crime family employed them. Ippolito was able to utilize his position as a detective to obtain information on other crime organizations and send it on to the Luches family because of his links to the Gambino family. For his part, Caracappa offered the Luches family security and occasionally even served as a hitman. Their role in the murder of Nicholas Guido, a member of the Gambino family, is their most infamous crime. Guido was considered a threat since the Luches family and the Gambino family had a protracted dispute. Guido was enticed to a rendezvous by Ippolito and Caracappa, whereupon he was taken captive, subjected to torture, and eventually killed. Additionally, the Luches family received information from Ippolito and Caracappa that resulted in the murder of a number of other people. Israel Greenwald, a diamond merchant who was abducted, subjected to torture in 1986, and then murdered. Ippolito and Caracappa assisted to organize Greenwald's kidnapping and gave the Luches family information about his whereabouts. Jimmy Heidel, a possible hitman for the Gambino family, and Eddie Lino, a member of the Luches family, were also victims of Ippolito and Caracappa's actions. The Luches family executed both men using the information Ippolito and Caracappa provided. John Gotti Jr. was a federal prosecutor who launched an investigation into the crimes committed by Ippolito and Caracappa. Louis Ippolito and Stephen Caracappa's trial got underway in 2006 in a federal court in Brooklyn. The two men had served in the NYPD, and their alleged acts were surprising and highly upsetting, so the trial was keenly monitored. They were accused of a number of crimes: murder, racketeering, and obstruction of justice. And obstruction of justice were some of them, to name a few. The full scope of Ippolito and Caracappa's crimes started to come to light as the trial progressed, and it became evident that the two men had been acting as hitmen for the mafia for many years. Ippolito and Caracappa, according to the prosecution, had been involved with the Luches crime family since the 1980s. The guys were accused of giving the mafia insider knowledge regarding inquiries, wiretaps, and other law enforcement efforts. According to reports, the mafia gave Ippolito and Caracappa thousands of dollars each month in exchange, along with bonuses for successful hits. Additionally, the two men were charged with killing several people themselves. The mobster Nicholas Guido 1986 murder was the most well-known of these slayings. Guido was allegedly kidnapped by Ippolito and Caracappa, taken to a garage, and then shot in the head. Guido was still alive when the men drove him to the garage, and he reportedly begged for his life, making the death extra cruel. Ippolito and Caracappa were also charged with the murder of gangster Eddie Lino and the assassination of strip club owner Israel Greenwald. The report suggested that they murdered both of them on behalf of the Luches crime family. Ippolito and Caracappa remained innocent throughout their trial. They said that the witness who testified against them is doing so only because of the fact that he's being offered a reduced sentence, an amnesty, and for this very reason he's willing to throw them under the bus. They blamed this on the work of dishonest cops who held grudges against them, reiterating that they had no connection with any gang or mafia. Eppolito and Caracappa were found guilty of all charges in 2006. Despite their objections, they both received life sentences and continued to serve them till their demise. Louis Eppolito and Stephen Caracappa's case is an example of what might happen when law enforcement professionals move to the dark side. When it came to defending the people of New York City, these individuals abused the trust placed in them and instead used their positions of authority to enhance their own criminal enterprises. The length of time they were able to operate undetected is quite troubling, and it calls into doubt the efficiency of the NYPD's internal controls and supervision procedures. This incident reminds us of the threat that these organized crimes pose to us in general and to a number of people in specific. Despite law enforcement officials' best efforts, the mafia has long been a part of American culture and still maintains a significant influence in a number of sectors. Eppolito and Caracappa's ability to serve as mafia hitmen for years is evidence of the strength and scope of organized crime, and it emphasizes the need for ongoing efforts to battle this evil. Louis Eppolito and Stephen Caracappa's story ultimately serves as a sharp reminder of the significance of preserving the credibility of law enforcement. After a protracted FBI and Brooklyn District Attorney's Office investigation, the two detectives were finally apprehended in 2005. Eppolito and Caracappa received a life sentence without the possibility of parole after being found guilty in 2006. The Louis Eppolito and Stephen Caracappa case stunned the entire law enforcement community as well as the city of New York. It served as a sharp reminder of the risks posed by police misconduct and the necessity of holding them responsible for their acts. This incident brought to light the necessity for greater oversight and openness within law enforcement organizations in order to stop similar abuses of authority from happening in the future. As law enforcement officials and criminal justice specialists continue to study and evaluate Eppolito and Caracappa's actions, their legacy endures. Numerous books, documentaries, and even full-length movies have been written about their narrative, demonstrating the enduring public interest in their situation. In conclusion, the Louis Eppolito and Stephen Caracappa case serve as a sobering reminder of the risks associated with police corruption and the significance of holding them accountable for their deeds. So what do you think is the kind of legacy they have left behind? For one, it is a sure thing that they will not be remembered in high praises, but rather a warning and the need as to why it is necessary to be transparent in their dealings. Well, this is it, folks. We're going to continue with this series in the future as we bring you more content on the corrupt cops who got caught. Always remember, be a law-abiding citizen, and as we said earlier, protect and serve.